In this video, we are going to create a style page using 7 items that we have sourced to create a styled look. We are going to be completing this assignment in Adobe Photoshop. This is an example of what our completed project will look like. You, of course, can do some variation in your layout. This is the completed page that I created, inspired by a look from the latest season of White Lotus. So let's get started creating our style page. The first thing you need to choose is a styled look inspiration image. I have gone ahead and chosen this look from White Lotus. You can choose any image that is an inspired look. You can choose something from Instagram, from a movie, a TV show, from a magazine, from one of your favorite brands. But what you need to do is you need to choose 7 images that will help put this look together. So the first thing you need to do is choose your look, and then you need to source the products. Once you've done all that, you are going to remove the background of the product images. I have gone ahead and already done that. Here I have my bag image, the swimsuit, the earrings, the necklace, a list of my products, the name, the price, the designer, and the link where I found these products. I have my shoe, I have the skirt, the sunglasses, and I also have the logo. So once you've found all of these images, you've collected the details that you need for the assignment, as well as removed the background from all these images, then you have everything you need to create the layout for this styled look. I'm going to start at my Photoshop home screen. I'm going to create a new file. I want this to be a letter-sized document. You can find letter-sized document in the print tab, or you might have recently made a letter-sized document. This will be 8.5 by 11 inches. I have my resolution set to 300, and since we're not printing these, I have it in RGB color mode. I'm going to go ahead and click Create. And now I have my document. The next thing you need to do is you need to place all of these images with the removed background into this file. Let's go ahead and save our file before we get started. Okay, so to place an image, we are going to go to File, Place Embedded, and then we are going to navigate to our folder, and I'm going to place my styled look images first. And then once you place it, you can scale it down by going to the corner and dragging in when you see the double activated arrows, or you can scale everything after you've placed it. I'd recommend doing that. I've placed it, and I'm going to hit this checkbox at the top in the menu bar here. And now I'm going to go to File, Place Embedded, and I have another example of my styled look. I'm going to check the box. And then I'm going to keep doing this until I have placed all of my product images. Here I've gone ahead and I have placed all of my products in here, and I've scaled them down using the transform tool. So to transform and scale an image, you're going to click on that image, and then you'll hit Command T or Control T on your keyboard to get this transformation box. You'll go to the corner where the double arrows activate, and you'll pull in or you'll pull out depending on if you're scaling your image down or up. Once you've scaled the image to your liking, you'll hit the check box. I have placed these items around my document, but this is by no means going to be the final placement for these images. I kind of just want to see, how much each image is taking up space. But next I'm going to go ahead and turn these images off, and I'm going to turn my styled images back on, and I'm going to create kind of a little layout template to work within, and then I'll know what kind of space I have to place my product images. So let me go ahead and turn off all these images by clicking on the eyeball in my layers panel, and now I'm turning on my images of my styled look. Okay, so I think I'm going to kind of use a diagonal layout. I want to clip these 2 images into 2 separate circle shapes and kind of place them at the top left and bottom right corners to kind of anchor my page. So first I need to go ahead and create this circle. Here in our toolbar, we have a rectangle that you'll see. If you hold down with your pointy finger on your mouse, you'll see the ellipse tool. I'm going to select the ellipse tool, and then holding shift, I'm going to draw an ellipse over this image. So I'm going to kind of place the circle approximately where I want it to clip, and then I'm going to drag it under this image in the layers panel. Next, I'm going to clip this image to the circle. So basically it will look like the image is cropped into the shape of a circle. However, it's just a mask. It's more like sitting inside of this circle shape. So to do that, I'm going to click on the image, the top image here, and I'm going to hold Option on my keyboard, and I'm going to hover in between the layer that is the image and the circle. The image must be placed on top of the circle. Holding down Option or Alt if you're using a PC, you will click and clip it into the circle. You can also select the image and go to the hamburger menu here and click Create Clipping Mask, or you can use the shortcut here for the clipping mask, and it will clip into the circle shape. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this ellipse. To do that, I'm going to the hamburger menu and hit Duplicate Layer and OK. That unclips it. I can just reclip it again, and then the second circle I'm going to move below the other image. Now I need to clip this bottom image to the second circle, so I'm going to hold Option or Alt to clip, or you can go to the menu and make the clipping mask. So I'm going to select the image and its corresponding ellipse together and create a group. That way when I move one object, they will move together and stay as a unit. So I am going to go ahead and name this group. Now when I select the group with the auto select turned off, it will move as a unit. If you have auto select turned on, it will kind of choose to select whatever it wants. I do want to kind of shift where she is in the circle, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. I'm going to group the second image and ellipse together now, and I'm going to group by clicking the folder, and I'll call this Style Image 2. I have the auto select turned off now, and I'm going to select this folder, Style Image 2, and move it to the bottom right hand corner. Okay, so now I kind of have these two images anchoring these corners of my document. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the White Lotus logo, and I am going to select it here in my layers panel, and I'm going to bring it towards the bottom. I think I want it to be a little smaller, so I'm going to go to Command T with this layer selected and go to the corner to scale this logo down a little bit. Once I'm done, I hit the checkbox. The final thing I want to do for kind of creating the base layout for this page is I want to add a little bit of a frame. I'm going to go ahead and go to my rectangle tool, and I'm going to use this to draw a frame. I want to make sure that there is no fill, so in my control bar up here where it says fill, I'm going to click the white box with the red line through it, and with the stroke I am going to choose a black color, and I will increase the stroke weight. Let's do 10 pixels to start. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw this rectangle the size of my document. I can customize the size up here. So here it says the width in pixels. I want it to have, let's say, about 0.25 on each side. I know I have an 8.5 by 11 inch document, so let's go 8 IN for the width, and let's go 10.5 IN for the height, and I'll hit enter on my keyboard, and now I know that's going to give me exactly 0.25 on each side. And so you do want to make sure that your frame is perfectly equidistant from the edge and that there isn't one part of the frame that's closer to the edge than another. I am going to bring this frame to the very top of my layers. I'm going to go ahead and lock this rectangle down. Because it's at the very top, it might auto select or accidentally be selected a lot, and so I do not want this to interfere with my other images and my other layers, so it needs to be locked down. To lock it down, you will click the lock here in the layers panel. There's a little lock right here. You need to make sure that the rectangle is selected, and you will hit lock. And then a little lock will appear to the right of that rectangle in the layers panel. And now it will not accidentally select. All right, so now we have our basic template. We can go ahead and turn our images back on and start rearranging a little bit more now that we have this basic template set up. Now that I've worked on my layout a little more, I need to start thinking about the typography. So I know that we need to have a title or a headline for this styled look. And so I want to find a font that will be appropriate for this page. I'm going to choose a font that is inspired by the White Lotus logo. You can often look up fonts in reverse, or you can kind of Google and be like, what is the White Lotus font? And someone might tell you. I know that this is a Trajan Pro font, so I'm going to go to fonts.adobe.com and see if they have something similar. So I'll type in Trajan, and it looks like they have several different Trajan fonts. So I'm going to go to Trajan here and click on this font family, and I'm going to add the weights that I need. I would suggest, if there's not too many fonts, just adding the whole collection to your library. To add a font, you'll click Add Font, and then you'll go back to Photoshop, refresh the character list, and you should be able to find your font. So definitely take advantage of Adobe fonts. Now that I'm back here in Photoshop, I can create a text box and look for my font. To create a text box, you'll go to the text tool. It looks like a T. I'm going to click this, and I'm going to draw a text box by clicking, holding, and dragging. I'm going to label this Beach Bohemian. And I need to make my text box a little bigger. So I'm going to double click on it and stretch it out a little wider so that all my text fits in. I've done this once before, so it's already found Trajan. But to find the type, you can look here in this control panel. You can also look here in the properties panel. It says character. In any of these drop-down menus, you can look and kind of scroll through your fonts and see what's available to you. I think that this is a good size placement, and so I'm going to hit the check box. If I need to adjust my type, I'm going to go to the text box, and I'm going to click on this existing text box, and then I can delete and retype. Next, I need to start inputting all of the information for each product. So the information that I have the name of the product, I have the price of the product, and I have the designer of the product. That's all we're going to put in this style page. You can choose to put the information next to each item, which is what I'm going to do, or you can choose to put the information all in one kind of paragraph, and then you can add labels to point to each different item. This is a list of the product details. So here I have this ruffled bikini by Tara Matthews. So I'm going to copy these from my Word document, and I'm going to create a new text box, and I'm going to paste this information, Command V. Now this text is way too large, so to select everything in this text box, I'm going to hit Command A. That will select everything. Command A is select all. All right, so now I can go ahead and change the size of the weight of this font. We want this to be pretty small, so I would say between 8 point and 9 point will be a good size. So let's start with 9 point. Here we have each item on its own row. If you need to add space, you can press return on your keyboard. I am going to go ahead and double click on this top line, and I want this to be a bolder text. So I am going to go up here where it says Trajan Pro 3, where it says regular, I'm going to click and drop down to bold. And this kind of breaks up the information a little bit more. It brings more attention to the title. So I can now go ahead and copy this text box so that it will keep the font size and the font style. And then I can keep adding new information. So to duplicate this text box, I can go to my layers panel and hit duplicate layer. I can go ahead and move it. And now I can go back to the text tool to double click and remove this information, and I can go back to my document and copy, paste. Right click, copy. Paste. Now everything is bold, so I'll select things I don't want to be bold and I'll unbold them. That's just what happens when you happen to have two styles in the same text box and you're copying and pasting. So I'm going to keep doing this process where I copy my text box and then I paste the new information from a different product into that text box. And then I am going to format the text weight by making the name of the product bold and then the price and the brand a regular weight. And then I'm going to kind of loosely place them around each item, and that will give me a better idea of how much space everything is taking. And then I can make some final adjustments to moving my items around and making placements for the product and the corresponding text. Now, after adding all of my product, adding all of the product titles and price and designer information, I've gone ahead and made some updates to my layout. I have my text in various rotations placed alongside of my product, kind of just in whatever way is making sense with the flow. Of course, I want to have my bikini top and skirt kind of front and center in the spread. And then I have all of the accessories kind of floating around. I have made the text a little bit smaller weight. I have gone with 8-point font, and you'll notice that I don't have all of my information on 3 lines like I did before. I have gone ahead and put the price and the designer on 1 line. And here I have a little divider line that you can add. So to do this, you'll hit Shift and your backslash. You'll get this straight bar inserted as a divider, and then I just add a space before and after this bar, and then I'll hit check mark, and I'm done formatting that text. I have gone ahead and rotated the text. So rotating text boxes is just like rotating an image. You'll click on the layer, you'll go to Command or Control T to get into the transform panel. You'll go to the corner and you'll hit the arched double arrow, and then you can make adjustments rotating. And once you have the final placement for that rotation, you'll hit the check mark. So now that we have our page, we need to make sure we save our final page. To save as a new Photoshop file, you'll go to File, Save As, make sure it's Photoshop and give it a new name. To export this as a JPEG file, we're going to go to File, Export, Export As, and here on the top right we're going to select JPEG. We have the quality here. We can slide it all the way up to the highest quality. It's giving us the size and pixels and the width and the height. We're going to make sure it's at its 100% scale. We're going to click Export, and we're going to choose the folder, and we'll click Save. And now we've exported our JPEG file. So you should have 2 files for this assignment. You'll have your PSD file with all of your layers and you'll have your JPEG file, which is a flat file that is just like an image. And you will submit these two files to me for this assignment. So please have fun with this. I'm looking forward to seeing how you put together your styled look.